everybody doing today? Drop me a hashtag live, a hashtag replay, depending on if you're here now or if maybe you're out there in the future. Guys, today's going to be a good one because we're talking about how to make some money. If you like money, drop a fucking dollar sign in the comments, please and thank you, or out there in Facebook land or here in the chat, because that's what we're talking about today. The number one thing that all of you guys need to do, which is make some cash, make some money. Specifically today, Rahul's going to dive into how to sell a lot of SaaS to small businesses very, 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 very quickly, because that is a request we've gotten time and time again, whether that be through directly because you guys are trying to sell SaaS to small businesses, whether that's because you're trying to figure out how to add SaaS as an offer that you're already rolling out to a type of small business, whatever that might be. That's what we're going to be diving into today. So I already want you guys to get ruminating, okay? Figure out there in Facebook land or right here on the chat what kind of questions you have specifically relating to selling SaaS, GHL stuff, GHL agency SaaS services to small businesses, because we'll also be able to do some Q&A, talk about it all the way through, all that kind of stuff. And maybe, I'm not sure if he's going to roll this out, but we have a recording of a cold call that he did himself, as well as a call that he did for a client where he closed a SaaS deal live on a call, another one where he did a cold call for it. So I'm not sure what he's going to roll out for you guys, but we got some cool assets. And maybe if you guys are engaged enough, as in do some of this shit, we'll actually be able to show you whatever you want to get going. Everybody think that's good? A good topic for today? Drop me some love, a one in the chat or a one out there in Facebook land if you are interested in learning how to sell more shit faster to more clients. All right, everybody says one. It's good. So I think that means we're ready to rock. So Rahul, if you want to take it from here, if you're ready, we can dive right in.
Yeah, real quick. If you guys have pads of paper, sticky notes in your laptops or whatever, this might be a good time to pull those suckers out. The replay will be streaming inside the Facebook group for part of this. The rest of the stuff, the live Q&A or any intimate questions you guys have will only be for Zoom attendees, which will stop the stream. So you'll get a chance to get into the VIP club at $7, our Diamond Club. So we can give you those details later. But real quick, for those of you guys that are catching the replay or just hopping on right now, here's what we're going to be doing. I'm giving you my giveaways right now if you want it. You just have to write them into the comments. So I'm going to share the demo that I use. I'm going to give you the website. You can play with it if you want to. If you want to see how I sell stuff with the tools I use, the keyword you're going to type in is FUM. That stands for Follow Up Monster. So a lot of you guys have already seen it. A lot of you guys are using it. Now I'm going to kind of use that as part of this presentation on how I make sales faster and more effective. I'm not a huge fan of long selling cycles when it comes to selling SaaS to local businesses. I like shortened cycles, meaning I can do it in one sitting, one cold call, maybe two. So I like to do those things fairly quickly, but I'm also going to show you how I've simplified this thing so it actually sells and not getting confused. So we're going to cover the core four. So offer number one is you can have this for free to check it out. And if you want it, it does cost money. If you do choose to type in FUM, you'll see my exact demo, and I'm going to show it to you on the stream as well. If you want a live call of me cold calling somebody that's not even my own client, I did it for somebody else. I didn't know really anything about the business other than they did solar. We did one call closed, a solar company for the core four. I have that recorded so you guys can use it as a framework if you want it. You type in the keyword core four. If you want to hear me sell the social planner also on a one call close, type in the word social. I'll send you that too. If you want me to, if you want a cold call where I just cold call the chamber, you're going to type in the word chamber. Okay. Where I literally just picked up the phone, just said, fuck it. I'm going to call them so anybody else can do it. Unplanned, never called too many chambers, or at least it's been a while. Just Googled them, found the number, hit dial, talked to the person that answered, and got my way to the next person who's the correct decision maker or the next logical person to talk to in the chain of command. Okay. So those things, when you're, as I see some typing going on in the Zoom chat, let me back up a second. Go to the Facebook stream. The Zoom chat, once we end this, I'm not going to see the names and who wrote what to give away. Go to the Facebook stream in our Facebook group. So open up a second tab, go to joingsd.com/group. So it goes right to the group. You'll see the stream, type the keywords in there. I'm going to be using that after we're done with this live to get everybody the things they wanted. It'll probably be in the next 24 to 48 hours because after this, we'll start sending things out. We just need a little bit of time. Okay. So Who is ready to rock and dive into this stuff? Give me a one in the chat in the Facebook world. I'm not really monitoring the comments in Facebook, so if you can for me, Cody, that'd be awesome. And we'll get rocking and rolling. So one in the chat if you guys are ready to rock on this stuff. Okay. Now, who has, I mean, I guess this probably may have an obvious answer, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to ask, like, who feels, and you can raise your hand, you can write me in the chat, who feels they have room to improve on learning the GHL platform? Like, you want to learn the platform better, what its capabilities are. So that's going to be a skill based. Those I call like computer keyboard jockeys is what I call them. You just want to do data and learn techie stuff. Who wants to learn more of the GHL platform? Right. And then number two is who wants to sell more of this stuff? Right. That's the context of today, right? Because I like selling stuff. I'm a kind of guy that if I had to have an airplane, I'm building it while it's flying. And that's what I think salespeople and marketers should be doing is go prove your concept out there, get uncomfortable, have conversations. Don't listen to mom and dad when they said, hey, don't talk to strangers. The core context of business is talking to as many strangers as humanly possible. That's your ideal customer. I'm not saying go waste time and talk to the wrong people. Let's identify who the right people are so we can actually like narrow it down so our conversations don't land on deaf ears. Because the last thing I like to do as a person is I don't want to convince any of you guys to do anything you don't want to do, especially my prospects. But if you're motivated and I can persuade you that there's a better way, there's a better belief system, there's if you got screwed over by a gardener, doesn't mean your marketing is going to fail. Or if a marketer did something bad to you, it doesn't mean all marketers don't work. It's like you got to take a risk because that's the title. You're an entrepreneur. That means risk taker. That means you have bigger goals. You didn't do this to make 5,000 fucking dollars a month. You did this to do 50, 60, 70, $100,000 a month. So at the end of the day, you can be proud of yourself first. And then the significance shines with other people thinking you're very, very successful, which is also a little fun to have that ego when people think you're saying you're successful, right? So we do it for ourselves first, and then the audience will start sucking us off once we're successful, right? And that's just the way business works. So a couple things we're going to go over. Everybody, does anybody not know what the core four is? Okay, now I'm going to ask it the other way. Who knows what the core four is? Just drop a yes. Do you know what the core four is? Yes. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to type it out in the chat and I'm going to actually, I'll just say it. I'm not going to type. The core four, we have database reactivations. That's number one. That is the acronym is DBR. Got it. DBR, database reactivations. The definition of it is you have a database. Like right now, I'm looking inside my database. There's 20 some odd thousand people in it. I can reactivate my database with sending a text message blast out. I can choose the whole thing if I believe in the message that much that I can just say, hey, this is going to work. Or I can segment out who's our warmer traffic, who's our less warmer, and then who's our cold traffic and start segmenting my reactivation campaigns. I'm reactivating people who have already expressed some sort of interest, whether they're a paying customer, a prospect, somebody who opted into some free stuff and they haven't upgraded or anything. So I can pick and choose who I want to reactivate. Now, how does that mean for your customers? If you have a restaurant owner, a chiropractor, a dentist, a lawyer, whatever, if they have data that they've collected, names, emails, phone numbers, you can now do a database reactivation and charge them. We'll go into pricing too, if we have some time for pricing stuff, but you can charge them to activate their database by distributing the communication because a restaurant owner is definitely not going to pick up the phone or send text messages to their past customers. Now, what they're actually doing is losing money by not doing that activity. Then they're going to say, oh, it's slow during the first quarter. Oh, man, the second quarter didn't get any better. Oh, man, I need to go. We're not doing very well, right? It's because they don't do the marketing. You can literally double a restaurant or a dentist or anybody by taking advantage of DBRs and saying, hey, if I can take your $30 like restaurant client and bring them back two more times in a month, we just took a $30 monthly value of a customer and could make it 90. That's a lot of fucking money. Do you guys agree with that? Is that a lot of money? If we look at it on a one case basis, that's 60 extra dollars. If we can do that 20, 30 times over in 1 month, I mean, damn, we just made that restaurant's life, right? They don't know how to do it, but you guys now should be able to do it. Now, if you don't know how to activate a database reactivation, learn how to present it, learn how to say it, learn how to persuade them to want to say, hey, I've like, this is how I would do with a restaurant. Be like, look, I see that it's not super packed at lunchtime. I don't know what the deal is, but like, how come you don't send text messages to people who have come here before and like the food? Then they're going to get stuck right there because they don't know what I'm even talking about. They're thinking, oh, my cell phone. Like, I don't have time to send text messages from my personal cell phone because then they might call me. I don't know who to type. I don't have anything organized. Then it's like, cool, let's just get your database from your POS system. Let's now put it into a system here and I'll show you what it is and I'll demonstrate this to you. But if we took a text message and say, let's just say we sent it to your 200 customers that are your favorite customers and we were able to get them in 2 to 3 more times per month, do you think that would have an impact on sales? The answer is yes. It's an obvious question and with an only one answer. Now, how much revenue would that bring in for the company? Cool. Like, well, how come we don't just implement that now? Let's just get something going. It's like $300. All I have to do is pay $300 for the technology stack. I'll do all the work. I'll send the text messages out and give you the reports at the end. Because we're already losing money off not doing it. Let's just take advantage of it and bring those people in. Would you be cool with that? There you go. There's your pitch. Go do that to a restaurant. Go do that to anybody. I didn't even really explain the rest of the core four. It's just one thing. I find the angle, I focus on the angle. If that's good enough, I'm done with my sales presentation. If I'm not done, then I move into core number 2 of 4, missed call text backs. And the way I do it is through a question. Have you ever like been busy and you missed a call, you see it on the call log, but you didn't call it back on time because you're not certain, is it a call, is it a salesperson or whatever? Like, but then you realize, hey, I'll call this person back and it was a potential prospect, but you don't reach them, they call you, etc. It's this game of phone tag that we don't want to play. But then you come to find out, hey, maybe they went with somebody else. Like, had you answered the phone, do you think you would have possibly had that business if they got to meet and greet you over the phone? They're going to say yes because their ego is going to kick in. Well, then I ask, what's the lifetime value of a customer? And I already know the answer to that question if I'm niched, if I'm HVAC, if I'm real estate, if I'm dentist, or if I'm a lawyer, I would already know the answer to these questions beforehand. So I already know it's going to make sense before I even ask the lifetime value question. Now I can go do the same thing. Like if they say, yeah, it's the worst, I'm like, well, when we're missing calls, people are hypothetically, let's say they're on Google. If I called like, I don't know, an electrician and they didn't answer, what do you think my next move would be if the first person doesn't answer? And like, I'm hoping they're going to say, I would go to the next person on Google. And if they don't give me that answer, I would say, well, I would go on to the next person on Google and call them. What about you? The reason I say, what about you, is to get them to participate, to be on the same page of my thinking. So they're thinking the same thing. So then I go back into saying, like, every call we potentially miss, if we think about the lifetime value and the effort and energy and the cost of following up and missing those calls and maybe potentially losing them, that's a pretty high cost for us. That's called opportunity cost. Now, how many calls do you think you've missed? Maybe, let's say, I don't know, that you can guess over the last year. They're going to pick up a number. They'll pick up 10, 12, 24. And if we say that if the lifetime value is $1,000, you just make a little noise in your mouth. Oof. That's like 24,000, huh? Now, here's a technology that can help with that. So if you missed a call, and let's say like when if I'm on a phone call right now or on this Zoom and somebody calls my cell, I have auto text back so I can acknowledge. If I know the person, I know the person. I want them to feel like I'm paying attention to them. I'll do one of my auto texts. Now, when we do it at business on scale, we can text message them automatically without even you pushing that button. So those are called missed call text backs. So the phone rings, you can't answer, it texts them and books you that lead. So now you have a personal assistant, you have an answering service that you don't have to pay by the hour. We can just set it up once and then you don't miss that opportunity. So then you don't have to tee up your competitors for their own sales, right? Because we miss a call, they go to the competitor. What did we do? We put the baseball on a freaking tee and they're just going to swing the bat to the competitor because we don't have the setup. We can now receive that income versus lose that income. All right. Makes sense to everybody. Just say yes if it makes sense, no if it does not make sense. We're at 2 of 2 on the core four. We're going pretty fast here. So I think we'll have some good time to Maybe do a real good Q&A. Now, everything that I'm sharing with you, I'm going to try to keep it as simplified as humanly possible. And I want you guys to also know that this does take practice and rehearsal, right? Because a lot of some of you guys, I see some familiar faces, not here, but also on the stream, that I've said the same thing over and over. It's because it's really well rehearsed. I practice till I can't get it wrong. That's a Nick Saban quote, the former Alabama coach. Okay, so I just use those kind of slogans to create a sense of urgency amongst myself to do what I got to do to sell this fucking product. Okay. The number three, reputation. Anybody who gets our core or whatever, any one of these services as a deal sweetener, I'm always going to include the ability to get internet reviews. It's only going to make my life a heck of a lot better because if I can get, I don't know, whether it's Isatel, Rudiger, Christina, Eamon, Herman, if I can get you guys, I'm actually going to ask for this too. If you guys like this, I'm going to ask you guys to write me a 5-star review on our Facebook page. And then when I get a 5-star review from you guys, other people are going to see it that are complete strangers. So the court of public opinion is going to put me on a pedestal. If I can automate that to happy customers or people who like my content and information and give me these feedback loops, as a business owner, A, I feel great. As a stranger stumbling upon me, they're going to be like, well, shit, people are talking good about this. Let's just go to the next stage of what is it? How do I get involved? Maybe I do a call. Maybe I buy from them, right? Same thing with the business owners that you serve. Like it's like the Amazon effect. You only buy the stuff on Amazon because of those reviews. That's the only difference maker of who you choose. You don't give a shit who's sending it to you. Like I bought bands, like I have exercise bands. I didn't care the company brand name. I just looked at you have 12,136 and there's like a four and a sliver. I'm like, fuck it. You must be okay. Let me just buy it from you. But also 12,000 other people thought the same way, right? So if you did a restaurant and they have 3 reviews and they're all 5 stars, and then you have another restaurant that has a 4.8, but there's 532, you're going to the 532 anyways, right? So the volume does make up. And any restaurant you've ever gone into that has been in business for 3 years or more and has under 100 reviews, they need this. They're missing the freaking boat on how buyers behave. It's such an important thing. Same thing with Dennis. Like I just got referred to a new accountant because my accountant retired and sold his business. And the person that bought it, he's like, use them, they're really good. All I did was Google their reviews and I had enough. I'm like 3.5. The number one complaint is um the things are late or they're not on time or whatever. So I'm like, yeah, I don't want to deal with that shit. So I didn't even give him a chance to have that relationship, even though my one of my best friends from high school said, I trust these guys so much that I want you to go with them. I still said no because of the internet review. So the referral wasn't even helpful because the reviews didn't justify the quality of the referral, right? So that's how important reputation is for these local businesses because they live or die by it. And that's why they go out of business so quickly because they don't have how simple this could be. And you guys got to master this stuff too, so you can explain it clearly to them and they understand the impact really. Number four, and then I'll pause for just making sure you guys understood the online review part because there's so many creative ways we can get reviews with scan codes, contests, whatever. We just have to be careful that we follow the rules of the platforms. And then the last thing is number four, the chat widget. Anybody ever heard of Abercrombie and Fitch, the clothing thing, right? So what did they have as the welcoming committee standing outside the store? Anybody know what those things were called? Those people, those things, I guess I called them. those those people not wearing a shirt. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Like, so we're gonna do that, but in a non half naked greeter way. We're gonna use our chat widget on our websites to sell to the customers that are already getting traffic and not getting leads. We're gonna have that welcoming party and committee with that little bubble that says, "How can I help?" They fill that sucker in. It creates a text message lead for you. It goes into Go High Level, and then you can start either an automated conversation with workflows or a bot conversation with AI. Totally up to you guys of what you want to do. I'm a big fan of the workflow to start with because it's easy. You don't need to hire outside or buy a bot or learn ChatGPT and all that kind of good stuff. You can just keep it super duper simple and then get Ninja later. Like everybody wants Rome built in a day, and it's not going to happen. Baby steps, big outcomes. If you go big steps, you'll fail, in my opinion, unless you're more advanced. But if you're just getting started, you're having struggles, It means something's getting a little bit more complicated than it should be. And that's why we want to stick to only the core four, and anything inside of Go High Level. None of that shit exists. Get rid of it out of your head. Who cares about any of Sean's updates? Love you, Sean, if you're listening. But who gives a shit about those updates? Because it's only going to confuse you, because then we're chasing shiny objects within one platform. They're never going to stop building. So, but you don't, so stop chasing. It'll be there when you're ready for it. Once you get the core four down, because this is what America needs right now, or whatever country you're in. Every business still does not have the basics, right? This is the spinal cord. Imagine if your spinal cord got removed from your body right now. Would that collapse you? When people don't have a CRM and the power of this core four, they're already operating the business without the spinal cord. So it's almost like they're in a wheelchair already, and they haven't even started their business, or they're 3 years in. It just doesn't make any sense, and that's why people struggle. Okay, so those are the core four. Any questions on the core four, on how I explained it, how you can re-explain it, etc.? Any questions there? Cool. Am I going too fast, or am I going at the right pace? Let me know if it's too fast, a one. If it's just right, a two. Just right is a two. Okay, I got to remember what I say. Just right is a two. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to go into, now that we got the product out of the way, I would love it if that's the only product that you guys worked on for the core four. If you have something else, that's why I have the social planner sale. Like, we do custom stuff too. So I can always get into the custom stuff. I'm going to leave that for another live, and really focusing on productization, because I think that this is not hard to sell. It's also not easy, but it can be simple with a little bit of rehearsal and a little bit of practice, maybe a role play partner as well, and a couple tools. Next up is niche and audience. Can you guys type in the chats over here? If you have a niche, type in the niche. If you don't have a niche, just say the word broad. Okay, solar. Okay, cool. So Tony, I got the actual cold call that I closed was a solar person. Business funding. Okay, cool. This will work well for business funding. Hair salons, I already know that. Life insurance, broad. Okay. Web design. Okay, web design. If you're going to be using Go High Level for web design, there's two ways to do it. I'll just address that really quickly. Either build pre-made templates. If you need inspiration, go to gsd.com/store, gsd.com/store. Click the websites tab. You can scroll down and you can see a whole bunch of websites, like the thumbnails that we've already built on top of Go High Level, that we sell to anybody. So we productize that already. So if anybody is a plumber, a solar, a lender, or whatever, we have a whole bunch of thematic categories that we've created these things for, where anybody can buy our designs from us, from the Go High Level community, and then go sell it to anybody for $1,000, $2,000 a pop to the end audience. Or just recently, we had one of the inner circle students. They do Facebook marketing and have Go High Level as it's almost like SWAS, software with a service. So in order to get a new med spa to sign on with them, they had an antiquated website, like we call them legacy to be polite, a legacy website, and they wanted to modernize it. So she offered the website for free with a 3-month contract. Why can she do that and still make a profit? It's because it's already templated. Now, the only thing we need to do is copy and paste images into it, right? So we simplified the process to be able to incentivize our own clients to get more and commit and create some urgency around that commitment, right? Because sometimes life provides natural procrastinators, and our job is as people that offer services that have top line impact on revenue, we have to be a little bit persuasive. And sometimes people feel really good when they get an extra value for signing up. The URL for the templates, I'll just type it really quick. It's joinGSD.com/the word store. And there's a bunch of free stuff on there too, like free gifts, like some scripts and stuff like that. So you guys can kind of rummage around that page if you like to. And if you buy, anybody that buys anything, I'll give you a code really quick. It's this GSDLUV30. That'll give you 30% off anything. Okay, so niche and audience. I like the rhyme is riches and niches. I think they made it rhyme for a reason, right? So that's where I think is the most success. But I'm going to start off on the broad level. Now, this is going to be the easiest thing to hear and the hardest thing to do. Unless you go do it, then you're going to realize how easy it's always been. those strip malls that you drive around and never stop in, but you think, hey, if they had my system, they'd be killing it and I'd be rich. Those thoughts that you're having are missing one thing, the action to walk in to get evidence of what you need to be able to present and what you need to learn. Because if people are buying, your presentation's good. People aren't buying, you have an opportunity to learn something new because now you can get your presentation a little bit better. That's why if you're gonna think that way, go do something about it and just walk in because the first couple are the most uncomfortable. The rest is easy peasy. If you're going to be doing, if no one's coming to you and your only way and mechanism to get business is outbound, whether it's door knocking, cold calling, emailing, DMing, etc., there's ways to make this simple and also fun, believe it or not. And if anybody needs help with the cold calling or cold approaches, I'm pretty good at that because I mean that's how I built an entire business without even an ad on the internet was just straight up cold calling, straight up cold emailing, networking with people that didn't know who I was, but then did after our conversation, right? So sometimes with the strategic Dream 100 of people who don't know you yet, a lot of good things can come about it as long as you kind of take those action steps. So I'm happy to help on that cold approach there. But going into the niches, like the easiest way to identify a good niche is where is are they spending money in it? Which every niche should be have some sort of flow of money that they spend. Now you have to understand is do they spend enough money? Are you going to be dealing with like the underdogs that have no money and you have to like give them a deal, like lower your price to match them? But then you have to think, is that the type of business that I want to have in a year from now, in 2 years from now? Because then we may need to change that niche right away because I'm not here to like save the world, right? I have to take I want to love what I do. Right. So I got to be a little bit selfish on who I select and what audience I go after. So I choose to go after people in industries that are missing this service, the go high level service. So I can use that as my entry point should I need to, as my foot in the door offer. And then I want a future with them. So if they love this stuff so much once I sell it to them, do we have a relationship where I can run your marketing? As long as it matches that criteria, I'm cool with the industry. The way I started was straight up in real estate. A really difficult industry. You have to be tenacious. You have to study. You have to rehearse. I think it's the hardest industry on the planet for a lot of people. And that's why I'm thankful that I started there because it's really hard to sell. And we were able to sell a lot of dollars to those people, to that industry. Other industries that are profitable, that are good, that are approachable, HVAC, roofing, solar, plumbing, even electricians. Those are all good home services categories. They all have the cash flow. Right? Like a dude charged me $500 to put a thing in my garage for a Tesla, for without the plug, just the installation. $500 took him an hour. Not a bad Saturday for him. He would have probably been sitting on the couch watching some NCAA. Instead, he made $500 and can go spend it somewhere. Right. So they have the cash flow for if I sold them $300 follow-up monster and I can activate two more clients from it, he can make $1,000, maybe more. Who knows? Right. So there's definitely opportunities in the home services space because they're very disorganized and they live in the field. So I think this would be a really, really good potential for that industry. So that's why like when that's the two things that go through my mind. Can they afford this product? Number one, is there a need for it? And then is there a future involved if this first step works? And the operating word is if. But for me, it's when. I know it's already going to work. I don't even need to know who they are. As long as they have a little bit of a database and they do have the desire to grow, we're already winning because now we have the right mental capacity of the prospect. And then all we do is make it work and then we can get them into Facebook ads later. All right. That's niche and audience. Any questions on niching an audience? Online, like there's a question in here. What's my, okay, let me go. Online groups, what's your take on that? Business groups have value, but sometimes it can be hard. They don't want to be sold. Yeah. So this is going to be like there's something called the perfect stranger method. It's a training inside of this group. You can use the search bar. It's in the guides tab. I would watch the perfect stranger method for that. Because like networking is like I look at somebody else's Facebook group. I look at the owner of the group, the administrator, as the owner of a home. If I walk into their home and throw my own party, meaning I make custom offers and say, who in this group wants to buy my thing? Here's what it does. That's kind of messed up. The homeowner is probably going to kick me out and say, hey, dude, it's my party, not yours. So I got to play nice with the administrators. So I always add value first with zero call to action, not even hit me up if you have questions. They're going to do it anyways if you add great value. Now, the way I add value is I creep and then I post. Creep means I find somebody who has a question. If it's something I'm an expert or I feel really good at, then I use the comment section. I tag them and I write my answer. If my answer was so good that I liked it and I didn't already have it pre-written, I'm going to copy and paste it, save it into my phone under my notes tab. I'll write the question that I answered at the top so I know when I see this thing 1,000 more times this year, I can copy, paste, and modify slightly so it looks unique in each group or when the next person asks the exact same thing. What that's going to do is get a bunch of likes, it's going to attract a bunch of other people, and then they're going to start to DM me or comment or ask me questions publicly. And now I've become an authority. I've become the group leader of that comment, right? So that's how I kind of transition people into they'll friend me, and then once somebody friends me, then I can say, "Hey, what prompted you to want to connect?" Well, I liked your answer. What about the answer did you like? Awesome. Or were you struggling with growing the business? Cool. Would it make sense if we hopped on the call and I could show you what we're up to? If it makes sense, we can work together. Then we just book a call and see where it goes. Right. So that's kind of go through the perfect stranger method for that. Because that'll be super, super helpful. Now, next stage is all right. Who who has 10 clients or more? Put a one in the chat. Actually, let me do a different word. Over. Okay, use the word over. If you have 10 clients or more, say over. If you have 10 clients or under, say under. Okay, over. Good, good, good. Over, under, under. Okay, under. Okay. So then I'll combine this topic. I'll do how to get your next 10 clients. So it's relevant to everybody in the room. Okay. So like I like to put a time frame on what I'm doing because if I don't have a time frame, then I'm giving myself a reason to fail in my own mind. So I'm a big fan of like I don't like to put pressure or create my own personal overwhelm. I just want to make sure, hey, what do I feel good if I only had one thing in life and there was a gun to my head? I guess I do put a little pressure on myself. But if there's a gun to my head and it went off in 10 days, could I get 10 clients? Now, if I need 20 days to do it, then I move it out to 20 days. Then I tie in, so I'm putting my own deadline. So let's just say hypothetically, in the next 20 days, I just need 10 clients. I just simply do math in my head. I take the full day, there's 24 hours in a day. Now I have 20 days. So there's 488 operating hours if I was unique and the only person that never needed sleep. Now I'm not going to subtract my sleep hours, but I'm going to do 480 divided by 10 because I only need 10 clients. So in a 20-day span, that means every 48 hours, every 2 days, could I get one person, just one person to say yes? Now, all the other things in life of the life of my business, I'm not saying kids or anything or cousins or nephews or whatever, those things matter. You obviously have to spend the time with them. But nothing else matters in the business. Training somebody doesn't matter. Learning a Zapier thing doesn't matter. Watching a video on Social Planner doesn't matter. I just have to focus on one thing. How do I get in front of the people that are going to be able to pay me? That's all I do is I have to be either on the phone or trying to get on the phone with people. I can either go to people, meaning I go door knocking, I cold call, I ask my friends, hey, who do you know that has access to small businesses? I got something cooking that's dope as hell. Let's rock. I use all my resources and repertoire available, but my focus is literally only one number matters. How do I get to 10 customers in 20 days? And then I have to have the trajectory of the activities that need to go there. So if we write down the activities, there's going to be cold calling, there's going to be door knocking, meaning go door to door. There's going to be going through your phone book of your friends that own businesses, your family that owns businesses, your friends that know people that own businesses that can get you in front of people. There's people that work at the city that know the people at the chamber that you can get introductions to. So all I'm thinking is who can get me to my right audience, whether you're the direct person, a degree of separation, or something else. And then I have to just write down my list. If it's going to be broad and local, then I can just say, all right, is there an industry that I want to target, like restaurants, dentists, or something that I have easy access to and maybe some proximity? So some people feel good. Well, you're in Thousand Oaks, California. So am I. Oh, have you been to Crawford's? Yeah, it's awesome. Cool. Well, the reason for my call, blah, blah, blah. Right. So sometimes you have that localization that sometimes makes sense for some people. Right. And that's where you can kind of figure out the niche. If you're just going broad, then I mean, shoot, you got so many opportunities. You'll probably get really, really fit too if you're door knocking because you'll be going walking a lot, right? Door to door. And the way I play the game when I did some door to door was I'd pick a middle business and right left. So I had to hit everything. So it's like I go to the like whatever. I just if there was 10 businesses, I pick one that had something on the left, on the right. So that was the game I played in my head. So I'd get three. And that's how I psychologically made myself saying, all right, if I go middle, I have to go right, left. And then I go middle, right, left, middle, right, left. So I'd always hit the three. So I didn't stop. And then I can use the context and conversation of the neighbor, like, oh, I just talked to um mail-in media. Your neighbors over there, really cool stuff they got going on. Anyways, here's why I stopped by there and what I thought might be helpful for you. Right. That's why I go middle, right, left. So I have that context, that relationship that I can springboard off of, and make myself a little bit more unique than those typical door knockers that have no personality. But that's how I create a time frame to close. Is that I like to have a deadline, and then I have to have the actions to commit to that deadline. Because in this context, if I need 10, nothing else matters in my business but those 10. I don't have a zap I got to fix. I certainly don't have a calendar I need to set up. All I need to do is go out and master the core four, play it, like listen to my pitch and my audio notes, have my notes ready, my bullets, and then my presentation. Now, I'm going to share my presentation really quick and then I'll open up for a little bit of Q&A. So I like to use props all the time. I think it's super duper helpful. It makes it a lot simpler when I can actually like share something where they can tangibly see it. So I'm just going to go into the demo and I'll show you the back end. So right here in this demo right here, all I do is take like I have a front end website that really I honestly don't even care about because it doesn't really matter to me. I obviously have the content so it shows the stuff. People can try it if they want to. But when I'm with them, I just go right over this button. When people fill in this information right here and they hit let's go, all of a sudden their phone number is going to have five emails, five text messages, five voicemail drops in 5 minutes. So it just barrages their phone. The only reason it does that is because it's a demo. You know, in real world, like if now I have a conversation I can have of substance. Like let's just say you and I are eating dinner, we're drinking too many martinis. It's the middle of the day. We're doing bad things on a Thursday together. Now you get work calls. Now, if we had a method where you got a lead, it automatically had two-way text messages with you just chilling, living the life you want to live, the freedom you want to have, and it can book your appointment so tomorrow you have a full sales calendar. This is what that does. So check it out. We can do automatic text messages to your leads and recover anything you lost. And if you miss a call, don't worry about it. You're going to be having a conversation with them and it's going to be automatic. And you don't have to train the salesperson, right? You don't have to worry about overhead of hiring and firing. And my son doesn't show up all the time and his buddies are always coming and going. Now we have something called consistency and we replace that human element. Just like, have you heard about all the robots taking over restaurants? Yeah, that's what we're going to be doing with this communication. All right, we'll say goodbye to expensive training. So I'm anchoring the expensive pain areas that we can say goodbye to that. And I'll roll it back that it's only $300. So I use this demo. And the reason I use this demo is because it's easier for me to do it. And the reason I build demos that are simple and just use them as my tool is because one person taught me that I was explaining things poorly, even though I thought I was a fabulous communicator. And it was the CEO of a company called stamps.com. And he didn't understand that I knew how to do design work because apparently I was explaining it really poorly. Then I had to show him. I showed him my computer screen. I showed him what I did. I showed him where it went. And then he's like, holy smokes, I had no idea this is what you did. And I'm like, dude, how did this smart guy that's a rocket scientist that worked for the Department of Defense and built the GPS for the United States government not know what these square blinking banners that you can click on are until I showed it to him? So then I stopped assuming that they're the problem. I became the problem and I'd solve for it. So that's why I use demos like this. Stupid, simple, super fast, meant to accelerate decision making. Just my words alone can't sell things very effectively until I give a prop like this. That's why we created it. And here like the back end is not the most important part. The workflows are. So this is what we have built into it: a database reactivation campaign, that is pretty fancy. That just kind of goes through. Here's like kind of the X's and O's playbook of the back end. We have our workflow. Like when this is what you see when somebody fills this in, this is what they're getting for my demo: text message, email, wait period, voicemail. Text message, email, wait period, voicemail. Text message, email, wait period, voicemail. So I'm a broken record. So you can see, and you can add anything you want. Actually, there's only four voicemails. It looks like there's only four. So from here, I can trigger them into another workflow because this is my demo account. So I can have them go into a long-term nurture if they don't buy from our demo. Or I can do anything I feel like with them. I can follow up. I can database reactivate them. I can email them. I can invite them to a group. I can do a local event if I'm targeting local people. So there's sky's the limit once you kind of have your database built up. And that's the cool part about this intention. Now, one thing that's also important to say here is that have any of you guys ever done a free trial before?
Yeah.
Okay. And then did that and do people buy off free trials that often when you're doing human services? Because at our stage, like for example, Go High Level could do as many free trials as they want. They have the money, they have the fundraising, they have everything behind them, the cash flow to do as many free trials because they don't have human intervention. It's like fill in your stuff, get this stuff digitally, no overhead, no nothing, barely any server space. But when you're a human services person, and you can't do a free trial because that means not only do you do the free trial, you are making negative money. Like you
Yep.
are losing $500 like every day or maybe more every time you do a free trial if they don't buy. Because like what's the point of doing free? So that's why we have this demo is that this is the trial because I'm not going to let you have the system for free and then realize, oh my God, I got to write a text, I got to write an email. No, because you're not going to do it. I can't do that to a customer. They're never going to use this by themselves. That's why they need to pay the 300, the 500, the $1,000 a month thing so I can put my expertise into it, do it done for you for them, and then show them how to push buttons. Here's how to move your pipeline. Here's how to send a text message. Here's how to book a calendar. Just basic stuff, right? I want to take something complex that's technology and make it simple so it's a Staples easy button for them to do because then I'm getting them sticky on the platform. I'm making them a ton of money on the front end. And it's also real-time money that they're making. It's not like Facebook ads where it may or may not work or SEO that could take 6 or 8 months or never, right? This is like you have a list, it's decaying, it's dying, it's losing money, it's losing value. The inflation of you not doing anything is the most expensive thing, even higher than California state taxes if we don't do anything about it, right? If we send an email, we make money. If we don't, I mean, what's the point of not, right? The risk is not doing anything, right? We're gonna keep losing and decaying. Like if local business owners' leads were teeth in a mouth, they'd all be extracted because they don't do anything with them, right? Right? They all decay. So that's why this can be such an easy foot in the door with people. And when I say foot in the door, there's more stuff you guys do, I imagine, that you're good at. Just productize that too, like Facebook ads or SEO, or find one other thing that you can make more money on, or another feature ultimately once you get the hang of selling the core four. If you don't sell the core four and you're more of a custom seller, that's also cool too, because we do some custom shit too, where we set up the infrastructure, their sales pipeline, their reactivations. Like we just set it up and hand it over to them, and we get the heck out of the project. It's a one-time thing, a one-time custom price, solving a big problem. Right. Okay. And then typically the next steps are like what I mentioned is now I'll go over into those keywords for you guys that are tuning in right now. The 4 giveaways that I'm going to be giving if you want them in the Facebook group, like the stream that I'm streaming on or wherever you're seeing this. I think we're on YouTube even too. Type in FUM if you want to play with my demo, that demo that I just shared of what I use as my tool. Type in Core 4 if you want a live call of me selling this to a complete stranger that's not even my client. It's about 30 minutes. That's going to be Core 4. And then another one is selling just the social planner for a lifetime deal that I did. I've recorded that too. I have that video. So type in the word social if you want the social live sales call. And then the last thing is a cold call the chamber. if you want like the confidence to do that and what I even said. It's about a 5 minute recording of me driving, Cody filming from March, or I think it was like maybe it was actually late February or early March, sometime. I don't know, time's flying. But anyways, type in the word chamber and you can have a cold call. So there's four things: FUM to get my demo, Core 4 to get a cold call, or I'm sorry, yeah, that was a cold call for a Core 4 sale. Social if you want to hear me sell the social planner, and chamber if you want the cold call for me calling a chamber of commerce. Okay. Put this in not in the Zoom chat, in the Facebook stream. I see that going on in the because when I end this stream, I'm not gonna get all these chats. So I just need it in the here. Let me just give you the link right now, so you do it in the right place, so you can do it now. And it'll take a moment. Yeah, I have so many resources for go high level selling stuff. Like I didn't even scratch the surface on like the stuff I have access to, or I do. Um, but I know that we're limited on time. Okay, so there's the link in the Zoom chat for you guys on Zoom that were writing the comments. Move those comments over to the live stream if you don't mind. Put it in that Facebook thread because that's what I'm going to use to follow up after this to give you guys those resources. Okay. And then I try to make my life easier. Like there's this one, it was like an India IT company, and they taught me this a long time ago. I want to say around like 2008. They kept saying reusable code. And I was like, well, what the fuck are they talking about? And then I just asked him, like, what do you mean by reusable code? He's like, well, we build all these custom projects, and about 60% of our code base is reusable amongst all of our clients. So client one pays for the whole custom thing, client two, the same thing. And then you realize I can reuse some of this previous code to my advantage. It's like a defense lawyer that learned some stuff. And now, even though it might take him like 5 minutes, now he still charges for his expertise, right? The full price. So it was just like reusable code. So we created all these reusable assets like landing pages, websites, widgets, graphics, everything we think can it be reused and have the same impact as bespoke, meaning custom. And as we feel that and determine that, we create these templates that were once custom and be able to reuse them. So a lot of the clients that we run their marketing for are just getting our already built products and services that we already spent a ton of money on for a fraction of the price we paid, right? So they're just getting the thing that's already going to work without having to guess, right? So that's kind of what reusable assets is, and that's where we get into productization. Okay. All right, I'm going to stop the stream right now. So if anybody in there in Facebook land, if you guys want those resources, go for it. If you want to join our Diamond Club, we're about to go away and say goodbye to you guys out in Facebook land. It's $7. You can type in the word VIP and we'll send you the link and you can just sign up there. Okay. All right. Bye, Facebook land. And the hashtag live, hashtag replay.